Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jenkins and the Java 10 Plus online hackathon. Today, we will have a short sync up and presentation of from different teams. Just a second, I'm going to share my slides. Okay. So, do you see my slides?
We see your infinite screen.
Okay, so there is no way to get rid of that. Yeah, so Jenkins and Java 10 hackathon. Today is day 5. We were hacking all the week on different topics of Java 10, 11 support in Jenkins. So we are going to present some results we achieved during this week. So I will have a brief hackathon introduction, then we will have a status updates for different teams, and then we will perform demos. So we have 3 scheduled demos, like running Jenkins with Java 10, Easy Jenkins from Jean-Paul, and also building and testing Jenkins from Sam and Devin. If somebody else wants to present his results, please feel free to ping me after the demos, and yeah, we will conduct additional demo sessions. If you're interested to ask any questions, we have a channel in Gitter, so it's Jenkins CI/Jenkins. You can log in there and ask any questions. So our colleagues on the call will be monitoring these sessions, and yeah, then they will pass questions to me. Okay. So why do we do this hackathon at all? So if you feel deja vu, I've presented this slide maybe 2 times before, but I will still do a brief introduction. Java 11 LTS is coming soon, approximately in September 2018, and we are interested to keep Jenkins up to date in order to make it available for users as soon as possible. Previously we did some exploration, for example, as a part of Jenkins World Hackathons and in offline. And then we decided that we want to have a kind of online hackathon in order to push these efforts to get something working and to make evaluation packages available. So it was our interest for this hackathon, and that's what we are going to present. But yeah, one of another objectives was to just work together, share experiences, and of course have fun, so that everybody of participants would have an opportunity to chat, to study something about Jenkins, or maybe to contribute something interesting. And we have had several contributors who did their first contributions to Jenkins during this hackathon. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to present some results later. Generally, we had 25 contributors. It's an approximate number. I still need to calculate how many contributors we had, because there were people doing some exploratory testing, reporting issues, or doing releases for us. So I would expect this number to grow a bit. And we had several teams. One of the teams was working on core and packaging bits. Then we were working on pipeline. Sam, Jeff, Devin, Nicola also spent a lot of time on development tools in order to have test and build flows running. And yeah, we also had people doing exploratory testing in different areas. So we will have statistics like number of commits, releases, etc. And now I don't have these statistics, but I hope to calculate it and post it next week in a summary blog post. Stay tuned for that. So I will just summarize status updates before this meeting. Teams provide updates in the Google document, so I just copy-pasted these updates and polished them a bit. So for Jenkins core and packaging, in order to support Java 10 and 11, mostly for pipeline, we needed to apply fixes like awesome, groovy, bytecode transformer, also GNR packaging, etc. In order to do that, we created separate feature branches for Java 10 and 11. We set up continuous delivery for War and Docker packages, and now everybody is able to just try them And there are links here. So if you're interested to try packages, you can just go to this blog post, and here you may see how to run Jenkins in Docker. We have several images like Java weekly releases, also latest from our feature branches, Blootion with pipeline bundled, which runs out of the box. And if you want to run locally, it's also possible. So there are run examples for Java 10 and Java 11. For Java 11, you also need to do some configuration work. KK, who is on the call, is working on applying patches in order to simplify that. So there are plans to make it as easy as Java 8 for users. But for now, we have such a kind of guidelines. Okay, this is all with the core. Regarding pipeline, our major update is that we've got pipeline working. When we started the hackathon, pipeline was crashing immediately, nothing worked. But after several fixes in the core, in packaging, in pipeline support plugin, we were able to get all major features of pipeline working, including declarative pipeline, scripted pipeline, shared libraries, etc., etc. And Blootion, as you may see on the screen, also works. And if you want to try it, you just need one command. The command is on the screen, and if you run it, you will just have running Blootion demo with everything we've developed so far. Regarding development tools, we had an objective to firstly ensure that we can test core and plugin patches on Java 10. So we are sure that we ship working bits for them. And then there was an interest to fix build tools in order to support Java 9 plus, but without breaking Java 8 compatibility. So there was lots of work around that. As I said, Sam, Nicola, Jeff, Devin, and also Oliver Lamy, and probably I'm missing other contributors. They did a lot of patches in different libraries in order to get it working. So on this list, I just have few examples. There are more. Then there were some generic exploratory attempts. For example, Nicola created a mini library required to clean up illegal reflective access warnings in Jenkins core. So it's under development, but it's also available for evaluation. And Nicola also explored how to build Java 8 and Java 10 plugins. So our main problem is that Maven compiler plugin is still not compatible with such mode, with multi-release jars, and we needed a workaround. So Nicola did some exploratory testing, and you can find his blog post about how to do that with Jenkins examples. So yeah, if you're interested, you can just follow this link and see how it can be done with Maven now, before the releases are there. We will share all these slides after the presentation, and the link is already shared in the chat. So if you're interested, you can just join and follow the links. And regarding exploratory testing, there were many contributors joining us, and exploratory testing was one of the newbie-friendly tasks, and we've got lots of evaluation for different bits, including pipeline, Blootion, many popular plugins. In our instances, we tested maybe 200 of plugins in total. It means mostly smoke tests, but they work. Also, major features like configuration as code work well with Java 10 and 11. And yeah, we tested Windows support. It works well. So we feel that it's a very good progress with support. Then we updated the documentation. So there is a new Java support page pending review. There were some plugin pull requests and releases made by our contributors, and also demo project updates. So for example, Jean-Paul updated his Easy Jenkins project, which he's going to demo today. And I updated another demo project with configuration as code. So yeah, that's how we tested a lot of things. So what's next? We have a lot of patches. Some of patches still need integration. So some library patches are under review, and we want to integrate them at some point. We also want to upstream patches to the core to weekly releases. We also already started this process, but it will take a while. We need to decide how we approach pipeline support plugin in order to get it available to users. So yeah, there are lots of things ahead, and we need to decide how we approach them. So it's just from the top of my head what we need to do. And today we will have a discussion what else we are missing. Actually, the next agenda item was demos, but yeah, since we have many contributors on the call, we could briefly discuss the status and what we want to do next. So if anybody wants to make any comments about the status and about the next steps, please just tell us about it.
Yeah, so one of my questions is, prior to this week, I got the impression that there's going to be a number of changes to the libraries that we depend on, which needs to be upstreamed. Is that the case, or was that a wrong impression?
Mm-hmm. So for development tools, there are many libraries which may need updates. So I just listed several external ones here. Some of them are external, like Animal Sniffer. It's a part of the Apache. Yeah.
I meant more. I guess I was thinking things like Extreme or I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So for Extreme, etc., we have issues with illegal reflective access. So it's one of the major issues in Java 9 and beyond. And we had a long discussion with Project Jigsaw contributors on Wednesday about that. Right. So we want to clean them up, and there are ongoing activities. So for example, this mini library from Nicola is one of potential approaches to clean up this illegal reflective access. And there are many other patches. So Nicola was started from Stapler warnings and from extreme warnings, and that's how he got there. So there is a hope that such a generic approach will allow to prevent the most of illegal reflective access warnings.
I think too, like for most of the third-party dependencies we had, most of the issues were, like Oleg is saying, just the illegal reflective access, which is not currently a serious blocker. So most of the stuff we were focusing on at first was we cannot compile at all, we cannot test at all, we cannot run pipelines at all. But it turns out like that Extreme's illegal reflective access certainly should be cleaned up, but for now there's not like any immediate.
Okay. Yeah. So those are still work to be done basically, and then it's a lesser priority.
Yeah, we are not going to ship Java 10 support tomorrow for sure. But, yeah, we did great progress. Many things work. Libraries will likely need more updates. We also reported a lot of issues about potential patches needed in various niche libraries. But yeah, there are still things to do.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, nothing in the chat. So maybe I'll just show the first demo, working pipeline. I hope it still works. Let's see. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
And I don't see my Jenkins. Okay, I likely just stopped the demo. Okay, so I have a package which is based on a GDK Blue Ocean demo. So just it's my configuration as code patch. So it's based on the stock evaluation demo we ship. I've started that. And yeah, here you may see that Jenkins is actually starting. You may see a new login screen introduced in the latest weekly release. So we are up to date. It may take a while for Jenkins to start up because it has configuration as code, including configuration as code plugin and some Groovy scripts. But yeah, here we are. I can admin. And here we see the demo. So in this demo, you may see that there is a Blue Ocean, that there is a development environment with some pipelines. And for example, I have pipeline library. It's a fork of, not a fork, it's just a local development instance for CI Jenkins IO. It's a Jenkins on Jenkins instance we use in the Jenkins project to run continuous integration. And I'm going to run one of the demos. So this demo just executes a pipeline. You may see that it's starting well. So yeah, it will just execute the build. And while we are waiting, I can show you what is the current configuration. So it's the new release. And if you go to system, yeah, you may see that there are some updates pending. But generally, what we can see here is that in system information, you may see that we are running on Java 10. It's a Docker image, so you can just get similar environment running out of the box. And yeah, the most cool thing is that currently it's more or less transparent to all users. So you just run your Jenkins instance on Java 10 like you would run it on Java 8 in Docker. So it's fully compatible with all standard packaging. And I guess Gianpaolo will present it more. So let's take a look at our pipeline. You may see that it's building something. And here we can go and see that Blue Ocean is also works with all incremental things in place. Once it completes the build, it will publish tests, artifacts, and other things. I will probably not spend time on that because we have the next demo where Gianpaolo will also show some pipelines. But if you want, later I can present that this demo actually completes. So actually, that's all from me. This demo may look boring because everything works, but actually, actually, it's one of the main achievements. With all of the patches, with all of the custom tweaks, we've got it working, and we haven't discovered any broken features so far, but we tried.
So what was the most challenging thing you had to do?
So for me, the most challenging thing, honestly, was to build Blue Ocean, because even without tests, it took something like 40 minutes on my machine to package that. Regarding the core, I would say that the challenging thing was to just integrate all our patches to pass through upstream releases, because there were lots of things. And actually, this work hasn't been done only by me. Sam did a lot of patches to pipeline support plugin. Then UKK helped us with ASM wrapper bundles. Devin contributed patches to GNR support. So even if I demoed it, it's not just my effort. It's a team effort we did during this hackathon. And yeah.
Well, that's you guys.
Yeah, you see, this demo is still boring. It just runs. Okay, so I guess that's it for now. I will let Gianpaolo present his Easy Jenkins demo. I would guess that he will show much more about pipelines than me in this demo. Gianpaolo, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Hopefully, I am sharing my screen now. Good evening from Italy. I am unfortunately out of the office attending a conference, so I hope that my network connection will not betray me. Can someone confirm that I am displaying something?
Yes, we see your screen.
Okay, great. So first of all, I really appreciate having taken part of this hackathon. I am not a Jenkins developer, or at least I wasn't until this week, and I really thank the other colleagues supporting me to be able to achieve such what I did. I am more a user, so I've been using Jenkins for embedded software development on the automotive and the embedded stuff. And over the last couple of years, I have developed this Easy Jenkins project that I'm showing on GitHub. And this week, I took the chance of updating it to Java 10. And this is what I was able to achieve. And I have prepared a small script, but for the purpose of the bad connection, I will just try to run it again. And so Easy Jenkins is exactly like that. So just clone the repo, Easy Jenkins, and then run it, and that's it. So that forks a number of containers, and as the end result, you will get an URL and an initial password to populate the Jenkins. So very straightforward so far, but as I said, it was not easy for me at the beginning, and I try to make it easy. The result you have is the usual Jenkins based on Java 10. So this is the experimental snapshot that Oleg made available earlier this week, with a number of plugins, including Blue Ocean and many other stuff that is able to support the embedded software development. So one thing I will show you is, for instance, the pipeline I've been running, and there are some demo pipeline I've used to validate the installation. So there is a small Android app running built on a container on a given PDK that they used on this embedded target I've been using. It's a kind of Raspberry Pi. There is a subset of the Genevi demo platform. Unfortunately, I have not enough volume on my local machine, so this build is broken for that purpose. But I will show on a more powerful machine I have in the office that actually works quite well. So some HTML publisher, some simple Dockerfile, and whatever. So I basically we try to test the most important, relevant plugins we have been using in our real development we are doing in my work. So not particularly fancy, except that this is working and worked quite well after the initial fixes were made earlier this week. And I was able to catch up thanks to the support of the people organizing this hackathon. I'm just verifying, as you did earlier, that I'm really running the Java 10. But, this machine is not particularly fast here. Oops, I probably missed the right menu. Okay, let's move to this machine. So I'm tunneling through SSH to the office. So this is the my Genevi pipeline. So if someone has ever been familiar with the Genevi, so this is an open source project for making Linux and open source based vehicle infotainment. So this is the let's take the GDP master. So the master branch of the Genevi demo image. It's built completely on sources, the bootloader, Linux kernel, userland, and many applications up to 1.4 gigabyte binary. It's about 60 million line of code that are compiled around 8 hours, if I remember how long it took. Let's just check how much it took during the build. So part of the challenge for me was to wait until the build was completed, and it broke a couple of times during the week. But after the last iteration, everything was good. So at the moment, I have no broken builds except for one on the hosts that have not enough capacity. So take this example. So this was the complete stretch build that took about 9 hours on a 8-core machine with 16 gigabytes of RAM. So it's not for a faint of heart, but this is how we are building the real embedded software development in vehicle infotainment. And for me, this is a non-trivial use case we put into test during this week. So I was really happy to see that there are no known regression at the moment by switching to Java 10 to Java 8. And that's basically the end of it. So this is my say benchmark. So this machine is still running the LTS on 2.1.2.1. So this is Java 8, and I repeated, of course, the same. And my attempt was to run the same pipeline on Java 10 as well. And in a nutshell, all the pipeline I succeeded to complete were successful. And I plan to, at the moment, in the EG Jenkins, the Java 10 branch is still in the branch. So I have not yet decided to move to master. I will keep work in progress, because probably I will do when the Docker file will be stable. So at the moment, I'm using the experimental branch on both the base Docker image and a couple of plugins, namely the workflow support, and probably this is the only one. Now, this morning, I also try to work with the configuration as code, because for the use cases we are playing, it's really, really helpful. And this is the other things I will try to progress after the hackathon. And if there are no questions, that's the end of my demo.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it's really exciting to see that the demo not only runs, but it runs for so long. So the build, which takes more than 8 hours, and everything flies.
Yeah.
Previously this week, Sam reported that there are some memory leaks in Groovy.
No, they're not steady leaks, though. They only apply build. So I think this is confirmation that there's no other leaks associated with it.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, this machine was booted up just before running the stretch build, and so when we will put in production, we will double check there are no leaks. But at least I was happy to be able to complete the build from scratch in the pipeline with success.
Okay, that's great. So does anybody has questions?
And as said, all the documentation and the how-to will be published here, or I will probably publish a blog post on what I did. But the Easy Jenkins is there, and if there are any good things to inherit, just feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you. And blog posts will be really appreciated. Okay, so I guess that's it with this demo. Let's continue.
Yeah, I'm happy to throw in the last minute JAX-B demo.
Sorry?
I'm happy to throw in a last minute JAX-B demo.
Okay, cool. So we'll do JAX-B.
I just got it working like 5 minutes ago, so let's hope this is not going to blow up.
Okay, so I propose to let Devin and Sam and Jeff to talk about tooling and dev tools, and then we can demo JAX-B.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a variety of problems we faced around tooling and dev tooling. When we first started, it was impossible to compile Jenkins under Java 10. And if I can grab my screen.
Oh yeah. I was just about showing slides, but yeah, you can do that as well.
Actually, I realized that I need to drop out soon, so I promise I'll be very, very brief. Do you think I could? Okay,
and then we will let present you first while Sam prepares his environment.
Yeah, so yes, it's very easy. So I'll share the window. Is that visible enough? I'm not sure what there you go. Yeah. So, so one of the pains, what I saw as one of the pains of this Java 9, 10 support is we have to add some extra command line switch to do something with the JAX-B stuff, right? That's like annoying for the users and then also annoying for the packaging. So the little project that I took on was to remove that. We have to we had to make like a one whole fix only to discover it didn't fly, and then we had to redo the fix all over again. But the end result is, so if you run Java 10, like no special switch is necessary, and then if you enter, it's going to boot up to Jenkins like it normally does. No cluster found errors, no nothingness. And then it comes up, and then the plugin that uses JAX-P, it works. I found some random plugins that does something to do with the RPM package repo, and then I verified that it works. So that's kind of that's kind of what this is about. And just to prove the whole thing, if you look at, so this is my Jenkins. Oh, I guess it's still starting.
Sometimes you need to refresh the page.
All right.
It's a new release, and
okay, you know what? I think all I was going to do is just to show that the up and running. Let's see. Anyway, I think I don't know what the computer as a whole is having a bit of trouble. So I guess you'll have to trust my word that at least in the boot up screen you didn't see any plugin failed at the start, which is kind of already a good sign. So let's call it that, and then I think I'm gonna hand it back to you before this demo fails.
Okay, thanks for the presentation. And once we have JAX-B bundled, we will be able to remove many custom guidelines and just run a Word file like it was again. And it will be super cool for the adopters.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, Sam?
All right, if we want to go ahead and jump to the slides, I guess we can get kind of the overview.
Okay, do you want me to present this slide?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll show it.
Okay. Okay, do you see the matrix?
Yes, we see the infinite recursion. I think you may be, in fact, trying to divide by 0 there.
I hope not. It happens too often. Maybe dangerous. Okay.
All right, so one of the key challenges we've faced, we were very lucky to get pipeline going initially without too much extra work beyond what was put in up front. But we found that a lot of very basic things didn't work. So for example, it's impossible to build Jenkins directly with Java 10 as the compiler. A lot of the core plugins and dev tooling as well will fail. Things like annotation processing, things like code analysis, static analysis, animal sniffer, the access modifier stuff. All of these have kind of quirks in the way they behave. There's also things like differences in the way the module structure works that mean we need to start looking at the multi-release jars. So I won't go into too much detail in each of these, but Nicholas did some investigation on multi-release jars and put together a very useful blog post on that. A variety of different people have submitted fixes upstream for different tooling. Thank you, Oleg. And if you'll permit me to present for a second, I will show you sort of the before and after building Jenkins and then what that means for plugins.
Okay, just a second. Yeah, matrix again. Okay, so just a second. Yeah, now yeah, your screen is visible to everyone.
Okay, so this is what happens when you initially attempt to build with Java 10. I'm going to go to my demo branch now. Okay, and I'm going to start a build. Second. We do not have support for find bugs at this point due to the versions of source supported. Skip, so add that.
Are you trying to show the console? Because your screen hangs in IntelliJ IDEA.
Is it not showing it?
Yeah, it's showing only IDE.
We see the CLI palm.
Very unfortunate. Okay, let me see if I can't sort that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excursion. Okay, so sorry. Let me go back to master. Well, here, I'll show you the outcome. So this is after applying a series of fixes to the palms and building on top of some of the initial Jenkins runtime fixes. Primarily fixing some broken annotation processing. You can see it builds and compiles successfully. I'm not running tests right now. We do still have a few test failures. And find bugs, of course, doesn't work with this version of the system. If I go back to our master branch, though, you can see that, oh, sorry, wait, this is the wrong IDE session. Let me go back to Jenkins core. Here we go. There we go. That's what it should look like. You can see that this is building the original master branch before the changes. You can see it fails very quickly. It doesn't even make it to the core plugin. In fact, if I try to compile core, Jenkins core, you'll have to bear with me for just a second because I am still compiling a large project like Jenkins. Even with a fast developer laptop, this will take a moment. Yeah, you can see it bombs out very quickly and kind of brutally here, trying to load these annotation processing services. So if I go to our demo branch, which includes several upstream fixes to the tooling and some dependency fixes and all of the secret sauce that's been going on in that branch. Actually, all of Jenkins. Most of this is already merged to our upstream branch for Java 10 changes. There's one PR still pending that I'm waiting to get merged. But you should be able to see the final result here in just a moment. And I'll mention that this is also important for downstream plugins that we want to test for Java 10 support, because those need to include a Jenkins core that has some of the fixes here, which is one of the things we needed to do for workflow support. I'm going to tab over here and show a little bit of that. See, we're using a snapshot build of Jenkins core that reflects more or less the changes that I've just done. So we've got most of our dev tooling already working here. You can see there are still some complaints along the way. One component of the build is not happy with something, but overall, just a second more. The whole thing builds. As opposed to failing in the first few minutes. And if we go to downstream plugins that are picking up these changes, we can now compile them. They had an analogous error, and run some of our tests. We still have a few remaining test framework issues to sort out. There we go. There, I see we've got tests running. We have some tests completing successfully already. We do have some issues running tests with the IDE. One of the previous hacks to resolve an issue with IntelliJ was broken by some of the Java 10 changes. So there's a little bit of standing work still left to do there. Get fully up and running, but even the fact that we can get all of these tests running, I think, is further than we were expecting at the beginning of the Hackfest.
Definitely.
It looks like what's left will be manageable. And you can see some of the tests still don't quite work. There's some issues with main unit. There's some issues with, looks like injected jelly tests. Some of the basic tests work. Some of the other tests work. Go ahead and import it here. But we've come quite a ways there. What's missing is all of the yelling and swearing that was required to get to this process.
Yeah, so we had a lot of people working on this area. So it was a team working, and yeah, nice to see these results.
All of us chipped in different areas. Everyone had something to offer, and I think we made a lot more progress as a result of that.
Cool. Thank you. So does anybody else want to present? No. Tracy, if you do not mind, I would like to ask you to talk about your first contributor experience. So for Tracy, it was an introduction to Jenkins development, and yeah, it would be great to know her experience and experience of other contributors.
Yes, and I can give a quick summary of just what we tried and what we learned this week. So I was mostly testing out the Docker container at first, and that was nice because Oleg had set that up. It was pretty straightforward to run it, and especially once pipelines was running, then to just go through and test it. And then on Wednesday was a main session where I invited Jonah Graham to join in, and we did some sort of pair programming around development. So I guess the first thing was that, yeah, it was just really straightforward to get set up with the dev environment. Oleg did a good job on just giving us what to expect, and we sort of took that, and with the instructions on the web, it was very straightforward both to set up for individual plugins and also just get set up on core development. So yeah, so that was the easy part. Then we started looking at issues that were sort of marked newbies, and most of these were illegal reflective error bugs at first. But I've come to the conclusion there's no such thing as a newbie illegal reflective error issue. We start looking at things and just realize that, well, it looked like it was likely we could just get rid of the use of find class or something. It seemed like you really needed to have a deep understanding of the architecture or the intent when someone put it there. So it wasn't necessarily going to be straightforward to just say, oh, well, this is what we think it should be, and we can change it, and that will be that. Yeah, so we ended up starting to look at, and I guess another example was something like DOM4J, where you could see there was a newer version which avoids that warnings. But again, just going about trying to update the entire DOM4J library in Jenkins just seemed like something we didn't want to. A bit too ambitious for this time, maybe next time. So with that, we went on looking at things with is accessible, and I found a couple of cases there. So Jonah was able to delete some code from a plugin which just looked like it wasn't really using that, so make that warning free for Java 10. And found another case where he could replace some old code with the process handle Java 9 API that was introduced in Java 9. And that was really nice because I could see it worked on Windows where the old code wasn't, it wouldn't have worked on Windows. So the new API was much better. Having said that, then it led to this whole issue of, well, we can't just update to Java 9 or Java 10 APIs because we've got to have this multi-jar issue solved. So yeah, it's interesting just to sort of see how that evolved. Yeah, and then loads at the with the Java SC folks and Jigsaw folks. I think it was interesting to hear about the signal, because we looked at signal fixes as well, and yeah, I think it just makes sense that Java, they have to provide a new library to replace that, and it doesn't make sense to deprecate those. But yeah, overall, it was a lot of fun. I really liked the fact that everybody was doing things and it was progressing. And certainly from my perspective, I hope it does become a regular thing, which does seem to be necessary just to keep up with the quick changes in Java. So yeah, looking forward to the next one where we won't be newbies as much.
Yeah, with regards to the next steps, yeah, we have Jenkins Vault events in autumn. So likely we will be organizing something like Hackathon there. So if you come to these events, reach out to us. Maybe we will set up some time to work on Java 11 support maybe at that time, or maybe something else. So, and yeah, it was a first online hackathon experience for our project, I would say. So yeah, we have a lot of things to consider for the next events. And if you want to provide any feedback, just send it to us, and we will be sending out a survey form to participants. So if you have any feedback, please let us know. We will try to take it into account.
Great.
Okay. So I guess that's it for today, unless somebody...
Yep. Yeah, one last thing. I think I'd like to say, yeah, a big thank you to yourself, Oleg, just for pulling everything together and making us feel welcome. And I think you've just been there for every day, every session, on hand to deal with people's issues. So I think it just couldn't have gone as well as it did without the work and effort you put in. So I'm going to ask everybody, unmute your mics, and let's give Oleg a big round of applause if we can virtually. So ready? Here we go.
Thank you. But yeah, just to be honest, I wouldn't be able to do it alone. So there was lots of prep work, and Tracy, Liam, who is unfortunately not on the call today, they also helped us a lot to get it running. Then there were Jenkins contributors helping us with doing releases. So yeah, it was a major community effort. We will do some calculation metrics, but it wasn't just about Oleg. It was a huge community work. So I'm happy that I was a part of that.
Yeah. If Percy hadn't said it, I know you're humble and spreading credit around, Oleg, but you and Liam did a really great job setting this up. And I think having so much of the tooling and the environment ready to go and the instructions ready to go made it possible to just focus on getting down to fixing things right off the bat. And that made a huge difference for us. It made for a very effective hackathon, I thought.
And I mean, even a large majority of the issues Oleg had fixed by the time any of us got started. So yeah, big thanks for that.
Yeah, it's an advantage of being in Europe. Okay, so thanks everybody for the feedback, and yeah, thanks to everybody who contributed to this event. Yeah, it was a nice effort, and yeah, I hope to see you again at such event, maybe in a few months. Let's see.
Yeah, let's hope to meet soon. And it was really, really good also for me, which was my first time as joining the Jenkins community in a more active role.
Okay, thank you, John Paulo. It was really interesting to see this Easy Jenkins project as well. Actually, yeah, I've seen Geneva project before several times, but yeah, it's great to see that there are some efforts on automation there. Tracy is also from hardware and embedded space, so yeah, probably she knows this area as well. Okay, yeah, so yeah, I guess that's it. So let's try all projects we created, and if you want to try Jenkins on Java 10, everything is available now. Everything is in open source, of course, and we will try to integrate it and post new running guidelines. And yeah, of course, Easy Jenkins and other demos will be also part of that. Okay. So yeah, thanks again, and I am finally stopping the broadcast.
And enjoy your weekend, Oleg, and have some sleep.
Okay, thank you.